Okay, congratulations. Now you have completed the first module and it's time for your first assignment. So to give you the grand plan for this challenge, it is to create a personal map for your health journey. And the first step is your first assignment. So what is that first step? It is to embody your vision of health. So not only to come up with a vision of health, but then to embody it, and then to determine your compelling why. So what might this look like? Well, you already came in and joined our group and introduced yourselves and said what the reason for joining us was for. And so, of course, you already have an idea of your goal. And so I want you to think about that goal and think about what that looks like for you. If you were to attain that goal, what would that look like? What would that feel like? What would that be like? And imagine as if it already was the truth. And so let's say that you have a goal that you want to lose a certain number of pounds, or maybe you want to bulk to a certain inches or pounds, or maybe you have a health disease-related goal, like you want to reduce your blood pressure to a certain amount, or to get your hemoglobin A1C to non-pre-diabetic level, your cholesterol in a good place. Or perhaps you're joining us because something occurred and maybe you had a car accident or an injury and that you're not able to exercise as you used to, and that maybe is frustrating you and you want to focus on another way to get healthy. Whatever your goal is, imagine as if that already is the case. And so there's a closed-eyed exercise you can do that helps you imagine that. So I want you to try that right now. So let's close our eyes and imagine as if you already attained that goal. And think about what that goal means to you. So not just how you look, which is a great thing, but how does it feel? How does it feel inside? Like, what are your thoughts and your internal feelings, but also maybe how that feels outside? Like, what is your energy level? How do your clothes fit? How does it feel when you touch your body and you feel a firmness? Your muscles are now maybe more defined. How does it feel when you hear that your blood pressure has normalized? Maybe you have symptoms from the abnormal blood pressure or hemoglobin A1C, and those symptoms have disappeared. Or maybe you don't, and it just comes through as a level of energy. Okay, so how do you look? How do you feel? What do you hear? What are people starting to say to you now that you've reached your goal? What kind of compliments? Maybe it's, how are you doing it? Oh, that's amazing. So what do you hear? And then also maybe there's other things that you embody, that you can imagine, so that you have now the energy to play with your kids or your grandkids the way you would like to, that you can bend over and tie your own shoes. I mean, whatever it means to you, I want you to really not only envision it, but start to experience it, that it's so real that you can reach out and touch it. That maybe there are tastes and smells too. Try to go through all your senses, because this is the way you are. Because actually, if you can envision it, you can achieve it. So go ahead and do that, and sit in that imagination and how that feels good. And as you do that, you will naturally reach your compelling why. Because as you do that, it'll start to, what does this really mean to you? As I said, how maybe it's how you feel when you're with your children or grandchildren. Maybe it's how you feel when you're with your significant other, whether that's some significant other you have now or one that you imagine you will attract. Maybe it's purely functional, and it's how you would feel if you could have the energy to hike where you want to, or to ride your bike like you maybe used to, or further than you are now. Maybe it's the ability to travel or be more flexible. Whatever, maybe better balance. It could mean so many things for you. But okay, so now you've gotten to that sort of intermediate why. I want you to get to a long-term why. Why attaining this goal must happen, because again, it could be something as big as your experiences you want to have with your children and grandchildren, or it could be a career goal and you need a little more time to attain that goal. Or you could put it all together. I want to be here in order to see my children graduate from college and get married and have children of their own. Again, if it's a career goal, it's like I want to live until, I don't know, age 80 or 90 or 100, because whatever that means to you. Maybe you want to travel the world, or maybe you want to write a book, or attain some other goal, and you know that you need to have your health. Maybe you are already in your 50s or 60s and you're thinking about retirement, and you want to have the health to be able to enjoy the nest egg that you've worked so hard for. So again, whatever it means to you, keep going out into the future until you get to something that really drives you, whatever it is. And once you get to that, where you know that you must have this vision of health, that you must be and attain this, because it is your reason, it is equivalent to your reason for being, then you have had your compelling why. So when you get to that, and spend some time in quiet and with your eyes closed, maybe it takes several times until you reach that. But once you have, I want you to open a journal or a notebook and to write at the top of the page, the front page. So it's what you look at whenever you open your notebook. And at the top, I want you to write, my vision of health is, and then write whatever came to your mind. And then in maybe the middle of the page, the same page, I want you to write, my compelling why is, and then write what that was. Okay, so I want you to have a relatively short version of your vision of health and your compelling why, maybe 1 or 2 sentences. And then on the following pages, I want you to write what you experienced in this exercise. And if you need to do this several times, that's okay. But each time, I want you to write exactly what you felt, what you saw, what you were wearing, what colors there were, what did you taste, what did you smell, what did you hear. Go through every one of your experiences, because there's something about writing it on paper that helps you to embody that experience. It really changes it, it plants it into your subconscious. And so if you're a logical type, as I am, you might be feeling a little resistant to this maybe, or this seems sort of hokey or silly, but trust me, it actually really works. And so I want you to do that for the first part of your vision of health, and continue to write out what you were seeing and experiencing up until you found your compelling why. Okay, again, if this takes more than once, it's okay. Each time you should write down what your experience was. And that helps actually, because each time you do it, you'll get closer to what your true vision of health is at this time in your life and your compelling why at this time. It will actually change over time, but at some point you will find something that resonates with you, and you'll know it because it'll feel right. So once you get there, you can keep revising your compelling why. You can maybe skip a few pages so that you can tear out the first page, so that your first page that is your final version of your vision of health and your compelling why that you want to work with for this year. Okay, and once you get there, no matter how long it takes to get there, that is fine. You're exactly where you need to be. Just know that. And once you get there, I'd like you to create a post in our Facebook group that shares your vision and your why and what that really means to you. Maybe a little bit about you can share what your experience was to get there, and then when that feels complete, then to make sure you use, however you want to share it. It can be in written form as a written post, or it can be as a video. And I like to encourage people to use a video because there's something about also saying it out loud. You hear yourself, and it also helps you embody this vision and why. It also helps you realize that it doesn't need to be perfect. There's something about speaking that shows your authenticity, and that helps the community actually bond. You get to know each other. But I also understand not everyone feels comfortable with that, so that's fine. If you want to write a written post, that's okay. But I want to encourage you to also speak it out loud in your mirror or something where you're telling yourself, because there is something about writing and speaking out loud that really helps create or transform your vision into a reality. Whichever medium you choose, make sure to label your post #mindset. That helps me and my team to follow along and help moderate the group and respond to you and encourage you. I also want people within the group, I want all of you to encourage each other. There's such the magic of a encouraging community. And so we can only have that community if we each are active in being that, in being that support for each other. Make sure, remember our rules. This is a judgment-free zone. We're all here to encourage each other for getting to whatever each other's vision of health is. So I hope you have fun with this. It's meant to be fun. Again, remember to think about our journey as our journey in a quest as a game. And so that way we can have fun together and help each other along. Now, understand this is the first step. It's a very important first step, so you can take your time doing it. And then on the days that follow, as I go through these modules, you'll see that for each unit, we will be creating a 1-month SMART statement. So for each, at the end of the challenge, for each pillar of health, and by pillar of health, I mean nutrition, physical activity, and hydration, rejuvenation, and recovery, you'll have a SMART statement. So what is a SMART statement? That's specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. And so the time-bound we're going to aim for is 1 month. The reason why is because we can start with this huge vision of health, and it's wonderful and it feels great, but to get there, we have to break it down in bite-sized pieces. And so by the end of this challenge, you will have a 1-month SMART statement for each pillar of health so that you can get started on this journey to your success And so I'm so excited for you. And I can't wait to see what your maps to health end up being at the end of the challenge. But for now, have fun with this assignment. If you have any questions or you need support, just reach out via posting into our group, and I'll create a question and answer section, and that way we can share with each other, because when you have a question, likely someone else has a very similar question, and then we get to learn from each other. I actually learn a lot from your questions. It makes me think about what your needs are and how I can keep improving my materials to be of best service to you. So again, have a great time with this, and until the next module, bye-bye.